I used to think I needed more motivation and I thought I needed better morning routines. I got a planner, that didn't work for me. I tried better systems. I even tried listening to podcasts, and Lord knows I'm never consistent listening to those. So what I kept doing was trying to optimize my effort, but now I don't chase motivation. Now I ask one question: where is this actually going? I found that you can wake up early in the morning and still be drifting. You can be disciplined and still be misaligned. You can even work hard on top of hard and still be building the wrong life. The problem is not motivation. The problem is direction. And when we don't define direction, we drift. Hey y'all, this is Ken, and this is Life Moves with Ken. On this channel, we don't chase hype, we build men who move with intention. Drifting is really subtle. It doesn't look like collapse. It looks like being busy without becoming. And it looks like saying yes to things we never chose intentionally. And if you've ever been there, you know what I'm talking about. It looks like filling our days, but avoiding decisions. Been there? Yeah. Well, drift, really, if we want to define it, drifting is working hard but feeling unclear. It's consuming content but never really committing. It's starting strong and fading quickly. It's improving skills without sharpening our identity. And drifting feels productive, but it slowly pulls us away from who we said we wanted to be. And here's why this problem matters. Men who drift, they start negotiating with themselves. And if you were here for my last video, you know that we have to decide not to renegotiate and negotiate with where we want to be as men. When we negotiate, we lower standards quietly, we delay conversations, and we avoid discomfort. And because there's no defined direction, there's no standard to measure against. That should sound something very similar to the last video. So here's what we do. We stop pushing, we stop becoming. And it's not because we lack discipline, it's because we lack clarity. And consistency dies when direction is unclear. If we don't know who we're building toward, then effort becomes exhausting. And effort without identity feels really heavy. But when direction is clear, discipline feels clean. So the real question is not what should I do? It's who are we becoming? And that requires something concrete. It's not inspiration, it's clarity. So then how do we find this clarity or this direction that we're talking about? This is where we stop thinking and we really start defining. And so today we're going to talk about something called a direction audit, and there's 3 steps to it. And so here's what I like for you to do. Grab a piece of paper, grab your digital piece of paper, however you're going to record this information. And we're going to start thinking about direction and get it out of our heads and get it down in front of us. Okay. So here's what we do. Step number 1, we take a blank piece of paper and we answer one very uncomfortable question. And here's that uncomfortable question. You ready for it? Here it goes. If nothing changes, where does my current life lead in 5 years? Wow, that's a big question. And that's one that should challenge us. It's a question that asks us not about the optimistic future version. It's a question that asks us about the honest version of our future. And so think in terms of physically, will I be stronger or softer? Relationally, will I be more present or will I be distracted? Mentally, am I stronger and sharper or am I more reactive? Financially, Lord knows we need to get this one right. Am I stable or am I scrambling for dollars and cents? See, direction is already happening. We're always moving in some direction. This step forces us to see where automatic leads, because what we tolerate compounds. And so what we tolerate today will be magnified days in the future. And clarity begins when we start to see the trajectory of where we're headed, okay? So that's step 1. I need to answer that very important and very crucial question. If nothing changes, where does my current life lead in 5 years? In other words, where will I be if nothing changes? Now here's step 2. Okay, take that same page. If you're writing on paper, flip it over, okay? If you're doing digital, then that's fine. And just keep going and you'll see how this all works out. So here's the next step. Instead of writing goals, what we're going to write is identity. And so in 5 years, who will I be? Not what do you want to own, not what have you achieved. Who are you? So you write in this statement of character. And so you start to understand and start to outline the steady pressure that you're under, the where you're physically capable. You understand the emotional discipline that you do or do not have. You will start to understand whether you're becoming reliable or not reliable. So you're asking this question of, who do I want to be in 5 years? And so that helps us to be present. That helps us to build meaningfully as opposed to just in some random way. So this is not fantasy. This is alignment. Direction flows from our identity. And so we're building identity. Here's the thing. If we skip identity, we'll be chasing goals that look impressive, but they feel empty. And if we keep skipping identity, we'll make decisions that are easier, but they don't really have meaning for us. And so identity allows us to stop asking questions, should I do this? And it helps us to start asking questions, does this align with who I want to become? And so what we're trying to understand in step 2 is, who will I be in 5 years? Got it? Okay, awesome. Now here's step 3. Step 3, we call it kind of the closing the gap step. Now, what we get to do is compare the 2 pages. Page 1 shows where drift will lead us. Page 2 shows us what we want to become. Now, all we have to do in step 3 is to ask ourselves, what are the 1 daily or weekly behaviors that will align with that identity? And so we're looking again for very simple, straightforward steps that we can take. So I'm asking myself, if I want to be who I've designed my mind around, then what are the 1 or 2 steps that I need to take so that I can steadily become who I've designed to be? So if we're becoming steady, then what happens is we stop missing. If we're becoming capable, what happens? We train ourselves over and over in a simplistic and consistent way. If we're becoming present, then when the phone rings, as we're sitting there at the dinner table with our loved one, then we stop answering the phone. If we're becoming disciplined, then what we wake up in the morning is already planned and it's not random, it's not guesswork. See, direction becomes real when we identify these behaviors that we know that we need to take. That's the key. That's the bridge that gets us to where we're headed. And once that bridge is built, momentum becomes possible. When we define direction like this, here's what happens. Something shifts internally. And so we stop chasing intensity and we start building alignment. When we live with direction, we become harder to distract. And then we become harder to discourage. And then we become harder to derail because we're no longer reacting to circumstances. We're moving towards our identity. And when we stop negotiating small compromises because they violate who we say we are, then we stop chasing every opportunity. And you know how it is when you're just chasing opportunities all willy-nilly. No, this is all about becoming intentional, grounded, stable, and directioned. And direction builds character, and character ultimately will build us into the men of leadership that we said that we wanted to be. And if you want to live that life, the life of a man that's on the move, a life of a life moves with Ken type of man, then you understand you don't need more hype. You don't need more clarity. You don't need to optimize everything. You just need to decide who you're becoming. Because once direction is defined, then discipline has somewhere to land. And when discipline lands consistently, character is built. So here's the work. Run the direction audit, write it down, choose an aligned behavior, and build from there so that you won't be drifting anymore. You will become who you design your life to be. And if you like that, then next we can start talking about other things that we need to do. But for now, let's just take this one step because we know that one step leads to another step, which leads to another step. So today, that's all I have for you. And I'm so glad that you were here. So if any of this resonated with you, I'm just asking that you'll hit the subscribe and like button and that you'll come along on this journey with men who are making life moves. Hey, this is Ken. I say it every single time. I love you. And please know you're not starting over. You're just starting from here. This is Ken, and it's Life Moves with Ken. Have a great day. I'll see you next time.